Welcome to Until It's Done, a show where we teach you, request you, push you, and sometimes beat the shit out of you to achieve everything in your life. And I promise you one thing, we'll not let you go until it's done. Today we're going to speak about what qualities are required to make you a good leader. First question, what comes into your mind when you talk about leadership or probably a leader? मेरे दिमाग में तो I get probably the prime minister of a particular country, the president of a particular country. I also think about a commanding officer in the army. Wow, that is leadership. A cricketing captain or probably a captain for any particular team, a business tycoon, the guy who leads an entire business empire, a producer, a director of a particular movie that ensures that the end result is perfect. These are the things that come. What do you get from this is one, that leaderships come or leaders are required or leaders come in different shapes, sizes. Leaders are required in almost every profession. Even a pilot in a aircraft is a leader. भाई अगर उसने बराबर से लैंड नहीं किया, so there are so many lives at stake. So today we're going to talk about the qualities that require you to become a good leader. We're going to talk about the basics. We're trying to set the foundation right. We will have another episode on probably what kind of a leader you are, what genre do you fall into. But today we are going to set the basics and the foundation right by talking about the basic qualities that you need to develop to become a leader. One of the most important points that you need to have, or one of the most important assets or qualities that you need to have, is clarity. Alright, clarity is the feather on the cap of a leader. Alright, a leader needs to be clear. When I talk about clarity, let me just explain to you what I mean. Alright, there are these 4-5 things that the leader needs to be very, very clear about. One, he needs to know what are the objectives, or what is his goal, or what does he need to accomplish. Two, he needs to know how. How do I accomplish this? What is the path for me to accomplish this particular goal? How do I reach the end result? Three, he needs to know how many or what kind of resources do I require for this. What are the resources that are required to get to this particular goal? Four, he needs to know what are the resources that I currently have. What are the resources that I currently have? And five, he needs to know what are the strengths and weaknesses of this particular set of resources. Clarity on these 5 points helps him draw a path for success for his team. He completely defines a clear and very transparent path that people follow to achieve a particular goal. You would notice this would be very similar in most of the leaders that you would have seen. Most. You just go and just find out a particular leader. You will know he's very clear on what his strengths, what his team can do, and he understands the fact that the team is something that, or the team is going to achieve this particular goal. So clarity is very important when it comes to leadership. Courage, determination, patience. Quality number 2. Having the courage to stand alone and face the heat. Having the determination to keep going on under pressure. And having the patience to see it through, to keep working, to keep pushing until it's done. You always advertise your own show as well. Having the patience to continue until it's done is definitely, or doing all these three together at the same time are traits that you are a real leader. If you are doing these, you are a real leader. Example, Steve Jobs. Very simple example. Everybody knows about him. Steve Jobs' vision about his company was that he wanted it to be exclusive. He wanted his products to sell on design. At the time, there were people who were trying to make their products compatible to all platforms, Steve Jobs had decided, no, mine is going to be exclusive. I'm going to create an entire world for Apple. It's just going to be Apple all the way. You would notice it right now as well. People then didn't understand this. That would have ideally been, you want to know patience and determination? That could be the reason why Steve Jobs lost his job in a company that he had started. Over a period of time when things did not work out, people realized that exclusivity is the right vision for Apple, and Jobs was brought back on. Today, we know what is Apple priced at and how does it have. People want to get into the exclusive club of having an iPhone or having a MacBook. This shows courage to keep pushing or to try and be different as compared to others. Determination when you don't have anybody on your side. He kept pushing, he kept trying to create value. And 3, patience, getting thrown out of a company and then coming back over there and doing what it needs. He led an entire team not once but twice to believe in his vision. Came back from being thrown out and earned their respect again. And today he is known as one of the biggest leaders or the best leaders the world has ever seen. Passion. There is nothing more inspirational than seeing a passionate person go about his work. Alright, a passionate person doesn't actually need to, मतलब बोलने की ज़रूरत नहीं होती है उनको. He doesn't have to go and say, oh, I'm passionate about something. उसकी body language में दिख जाता है. You can see it in his body language. Passionate people, it becomes easier for them to lead a team. Why? Because they are so plugged into their process. When you see them walking, आप उनको चलते हुए देखो, they'll exuberate energy because they are so passionate about that particular goal that they want to. They'll exuberate energy, and automatically, slowly and steadily, you will see their entire team start getting plugged into their passion. The entire team will resonate at the same level at which this particular person is, and he automatically becomes a leader. He just automatically becomes a leader. Everybody wants to follow somebody who is very passionate about his goal. Very true. Very, very true. I'm not going to give you an example about a captain of a team or something. I'm going to give you a different example right now, wherein a person is a part of different teams, but he's so passionate about his work that automatically he's become business for everyone. The name is Amitabh Bachchan. So we all know Amitabh Bachchan as a superstar today, right? But we also know, I'm not sure if you know about it, but I'm telling you that he was rejected by All India Radio for the very same reason that he is a super hit today. His husky voice. At that time he was rejected. What if Amitabh would have said, nahi yaar, nahi jam raha hai, aage badhta hu. Today he automatically becomes a leader of every movie project that he is. And the reason for it is again his husky voice. He went on to pursue his passion and he became such a mega star. And now we know that if there's Amitabh Bachchan agar aapke movie ke poster pe hai, you're going to get 70-80 crores. You know your movie is going to be hit. Why? Because of Amitabh Bachchan. He automatically becomes the leader for that movie. He is not going over there and trying to influence them. He is becoming a leader because he's so passionate about his work. He continues to do what he is doing, and over a period of time everybody wants to see him. So any venture that Amitabh will get into, at least in the movie industry, he automatically becomes an unsung hero or an unsung leader. Automatically. People sell movie. Amitabh Bachchan means business for them. This shows how passion, you don't even need to go and build a team. The team will follow you. Passion making you a leader. Humility. While being very, very confident, sometimes cocky, is a very good trait for a leader. However, there's nothing much more lovable than having a very humble personality. Why? Because humble people more often than not are approachable. Alright, and most great leaders know this, that the most important or the next big thing can just come from anywhere, be it the senior most person in your company or somebody who's just joined yesterday. Every person is a resource for that, for a great leader. So the doors of your cabin or your mind have always to be open, but that does not do it. You still need to be humble so that they can approach you. Anybody in your team can approach you. Humility also defines character. For example, a humble person more often than not is very open to criticism. He understands this fact that criticism is only a new way to success for him. It is guidance on things that he does not need to do to achieve what he needs to achieve. Humility is a very important factor. I can give you two examples of how approachable or how humility was demonstrated by one of our living legends in India today. Two examples by the same person. Mahendra Singh Dhoni. We all know him and we all know how humble as a person he is. Okay, but I have two instances that he sacrificed something that he's known for in regular match situations. I believe in the year 2014, the T20 semi-finals, Dhoni is known as a finisher and we all know how he likes to hit the last ball 6 or the last run 6 for a sixer. Now Dhoni was batting on 0, but Virat Kohli had played that match very well, and the reason for us reaching or beating a giant like South Africa was Kohli's knock in that particular match. He was in 68. I remember it is the 48.5th over and we needed only 1 run to win as a team. And Dhoni gets strike. And everyone knows now what is going to happen. Dhoni is on 0 and everyone knows what is going to happen. Everyone knows that Dhoni is going to try and hit for a sixer and give that Dhoni pose of a sixer that he does all the time. But to everybody's surprise, Dhoni comes at the middle of the pitch and just dabs the ball down. Kohli was shocked at it. He also smiled and asked Dhoni, what are you doing? And in the post-match interview, Dhoni was asked on why did he not go for his particular move that he likes to do, right? Hit the last ball for a 6. Why didn't he do that? And his answer for that was very simple, a very humble answer, that for everything that Kohli has done in this particular match to take us to the finals, he deserves to hit the winning runs. That is humility at its best. He repeated this thing just recently in Sri Lanka, the 4th match against Sri Lanka, the 4th ODI match against Sri Lanka, where Dhoni was on 49. Manish Pandey, a very newcomer, was somewhere around his 50s as well. He wanted to achieve his 50 and Dhoni sacrificed his 50 for Manish Pandey's 50. Humbleness, it will automatically generate respect for you. And once a person or an individual or a teammate respects you, he will lay down anything for you. He will help you achieve your goal. Humility or humbleness, a very important trait for a leader to have. Communication. Some leaders are very good orators, you're very good at speaking, but merely being able to speak does not guarantee you being a good leader. You need to know how to communicate. There's a difference between communication and oration. A good communicator can be a good orator, but a good orator not necessarily is a good communicator. Nahin? Didn't understand? Sometimes, to be very honest, you don't even need to speak to communicate. Alright? What I mean by communication, remember the point clarity that we spoke about? Yes. Clarity means you understand your team. You know how to speak to a particular person and which language do you talk to him. And when I say language, I don't necessarily mean Hindi, English, Gujarati, Spanish, French, no. I mean what portion does that team, how does that individual understand you? Alright, so to some people in your team you will have to have the emotional quotient, with some of them you will have to have the intellectual quotient, with some of them you will have to increase their responsibilities, with some of them you will have to give them the stick or they don't understand. So this clarity is required for every leader. He needs to know what he needs to do to get or to communicate his idea to his team. When I said that you don't necessarily need to be a great orator to be a communicator, I want to talk about this particular person who stirred up an entire nation to achieve independence. The name of this person is Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. He is also fondly called as the father of our nation. We owe our independence to him. Gandhiji had garnered a lot of crowd. He garnered the entire nation to follow him. That makes him an absolutely great leader. He got onto stages and spoke to people, correct? But how did he get people to come to that particular ground or to come to that particular venue is what speaks about communication without oration, without actually speaking out. Gandhiji had few newspapers that he would write to. He had his own newspaper wherein he would publish and call out for action to people. And he would communicate so well, he would put his ideas in these papers so well that you would have people coming in thousands for his particular seminar that he had, if you want to call it that. Alright? It was mind-boggling even to the Britishers that how did one person be able to stir up an entire nation and get independence without raising a finger. Non-violence, one of the most difficult things to do. आज के डेट में हमको कोई बोलता है ट्रेन में ट्रैवल करने के टाइम पे किसी ने हमको कुछ बोल दिया हम उन पे हाथ उठा लेते हैं. This man got independence without raising a finger. And the entire nation believed in that ideology of his. One of the best leaders with the most extravagant or the most unimaginable communication source, or his asset was communication. People just blindly followed him. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, the best communicator I have known. Being responsible or taking responsibility. The saying that goes that a skunk stinks from the head on or from the head first is very true even for business. In case a business is doing badly, more often than not, the leader of it is responsible for it doing badly. When a business does very well, the leader gets all the appreciation for it. But equally when the business does badly, the leader should be the first one to take responsibility and take complete flack for everything that's gone wrong. This is a very important trait that you need to have. There are some leaders that take responsibility even for things that are out of their control. There's one very strong example of that, and now I'll have to read stuff. There's this man called as Ratan Tata that we all know, correct? Now Ratan Tata, just look at the extent to his responsibility taking that he has done. Alright, I'm going to read these things out. We had an attack in India on the Taj during 26/11. Everybody knows about it. And the Taj was under a barrage. It was completely destroyed. There was a lot of all hell reigned in the Taj at that time. Alright, post which I'm just going to read out stuff. I can't even remember it. There are so many. So I'm going to read out stuff or read out things or initiatives taken by Ratan Tata to try and make amends. जबकि उनकी कोई गलती नहीं थी. उनकी गलती नहीं थी that there was some terrorist people who came out there and made all hell rain on Taj. उनकी क्या गलती है उसमें? But look at the man, look at the onus he takes. This shows character. This shows character of a true leader. I'm just going to read this for you. You need to listen to this. Things that Ratan Tata did post the 26/11 attacks. Employees of all grade, no matter what, were given leaves and they were paid during those leaves. Relief and assistance was provided to all who were injured and killed. This relief and assistance didn't stop at Taj. It went to the nearby Pav Bhaji Wala also, and also the railway station next to Taj. It went there as well. मतलब वो सिर्फ अपने होटल तक उनकी responsibility खत्म नहीं हुई. He took it further. If you don't think that is enough, he also provided, he kept a psychiatric cell was established in Tata Memorial or Tata Institute of Social Science. No, in Tata Social Science Institute. And counseling for everybody that has gone through this trauma be it his employees or the outsiders, were also given free of cost. He took 1600 employees under an outreach program where he took care of all their medical expenses, everything from top to bottom. 1600 employees. Every employee was assigned a mentor, and it was the person's responsibility to act as a single window clearance for any help required for this guy. Ratan Tata personally visited families of 80 employees who were affected by the attacks. Look at the commitment of this man. Give it a look. I need to read. He's taking responsibility for something that has happened that he is not even involved in. He was not there over there. उन्होंने attack नहीं करवाए. But look at the character of the man. The dependents of the employees were flown across the country where they could be, they were taken if in case somebody had a problem here and went through this. His employees not from Bombay, they were taken to his hometown. They were flown to his hometown. That is extended care. Why won't the employee come back and want to do everything for Tata? Why wouldn't he want to do that? Look at the amount of care and the emotional support that this man has given people. There is more. There's far more. Railway employees, the police staff, the pedestrian who barely had anything to do with Tatas were covered by compensation. Each one of them was provided subsistence of 10,000 rupees per month for 6 months. It's not only his staff. He's just gone out. He's just doing it. He's doing his responsibility. This is what I'm talking about when I talk about responsibility. There's a lot more. There's a lot more. I need to stop, but there's a lot more. I'll be sending this link down on the page. You need to read this. This is a very important factor. Taking responsibility. Once you take responsibility for your mistakes, you will also take responsibility to correct them and to move in the right direction. Very important factor or very important trait for a leader to have. To take responsibility for downfalls. It counts. It definitely counts. Sense of humor. A very, very important factor or a very, very important trait that a leader needs to have. A leader needs to have the sense of humor, especially when things go wrong. And trust me, they will. What happens, let's take it into account, what happens when things go wrong. एक पूरा माहौल टेंशन भरा बन जाता है. टेंशन की वजह से स्ट्रेस, आपके टीम मेंबर्स की स्ट्रेस इंक्रीज हो जाती है. व्हाट हैपेंस देन इज स्ट्रेस हार्मोन्स स्टार्ट flowing through their body. It actually reduces their immune system for some time at that point of time. They turn into a nervous wreck. And we all know what happens to a freight train driven by a nervous person. He goes and rams into something, killing everybody in it. Correct? So you're not going to get a lot when you're very nervous and your nerves are at the end. Alright, so what you need to do, what the leader needs to do at that point of time is try and create laughter. Try and make your team laugh, because there's a sudden drop in stress. There's a feeling of wellness that comes in, and because of that feeling of wellness, people start to lose their nerves. They start thinking. Their mind becomes free, and through that thinking from any one of your team member, you may just get a solution for the apparent problem you're having. Now, this laughter has to originate. It will originate from somebody's joke, or it will originate from something somebody says. If the leader has a sense of humor, he knows the exact time to get laughter out of people. That is why sense of humor is very important. It just releases tension in a given room at a point of time. And people without stress and people who are mentally free, or especially a team that is mentally free, can sit together and resolve a particular problem. Having a sense of humor is going to take you a long way in becoming a good leader. Think about it. Like we promised you, we've given you the basics to set a foundation in becoming a good leader. Again, we're saying we've given you the basics so that you set the right foundation to become a good leader. What I suggest is practice everything that we've taught you for a period of time, get good at it, all right, and then see the improvement in you as a leader and your team as people who follow you. You will definitely ensure that you get better productivity out of your team and yourself.